It's 3:17 in the morning. Outside, the ocean is angry. A wall of water rises out of the darkness, 20 feet, 30 feet. Then it crashes directly into the bow of a U.S. Navy destroyer. Thousands of tons of seawater explode across the deck. The entire ship shudders. Metal groans. Equipment rattles. The deck suddenly disappears beneath a blanket of white water. Deep inside the ship, hundreds of sailors are trying to sleep. Others are standing watch. Some are repairing equipment. A few are holding onto railings, hoping breakfast stays where it belongs. Because when a destroyer enters heavy seas, life changes instantly. Walking becomes difficult. Sleeping becomes difficult. Eating becomes difficult. Even simple tasks become challenges. Yet somehow, these sailors continue operating one of the most powerful warships on Earth. The mission doesn't stop because the weather gets bad, and neither do they. This is what life is really like inside a U.S. Navy destroyer battling massive waves. A destroyer may be one of the most advanced warships ever built. A destroyer may be one of the most advanced warships ever built. It carries guided missiles, sophisticated radar systems, advanced communications equipment, and enough technology to track threats hundreds of miles away. But none of that changes one simple fact. The ocean is bigger. When storms develop in the open sea, even a warship worth billions of dollars must respect nature. At first, the weather changes slowly. The wind strengthens, clouds darken, the sea becomes rougher. Then conditions begin to deteriorate rapidly. Waves grow larger, visibility decreases, rain starts falling harder. The calm routine of shipboard life suddenly changes. Weather reports are monitored continuously. Bridge crews pay closer attention. Lookouts scan the horizon through rain and spray. The crew understands exactly what is coming. The ocean is about to take control. People who have never served at sea often imagine a ship floating smoothly across the water. Reality is very different. When heavy seas arrive, the destroyer begins moving in every direction. The bow rises high above the water. Seconds later, it plunges downward. The ship rolls from side to side, then pitches forward and back. Sometimes all at once, walking suddenly becomes difficult. Sailors begin using handrails everywhere they go. Coffee cups slide across tables. Doors swing unexpectedly. Objects left unsecured quickly become hazards. A simple trip down a passageway now requires concentration. Experienced sailors automatically adjust their balance. New sailors often discover the hard way that the ship is moving far more than they expected. Many stumble, many fall. Everyone learns quickly because the ocean is a very effective teacher. One of the first casualties of rough weather is usually the human stomach. Even experienced sailors sometimes become seasick. For newcomers, it can be brutal. The human body relies on information from the eyes and inner ear to maintain balance. At sea, those systems begin sending conflicting signals. The eyes see a compartment that appears stationary. The inner ear senses constant motion. The brain struggles to process both. The result is nausea, sometimes severe nausea. Many sailors remember their first major storm for one reason: they spent most of it feeling miserable. Meals become difficult. Concentration becomes harder. Energy levels drop. Yet despite all of that, work continues. Equipment still needs maintenance. Watch stations still need sailors. Operations continue around the clock. The destroyer cannot stop functioning simply because somebody feels sick. And that reality often surprises first-time sailors. Trying to sleep aboard a destroyer during rough weather can feel impossible. The racks begin moving, the bulkheads vibrate. Every impact against a wave echoes throughout the ship. Some sailors describe it as trying to sleep inside a moving elevator. Others compare it to a roller coaster that never stops. For sailors assigned to upper racks, the sensation can be even more noticeable. The ship rolls, the rack shifts, the body moves with it. Sleep becomes fragmented. Many sailors wake repeatedly throughout the night. Some barely sleep at all. And yet only a few hours later, they still have responsibilities waiting for them. The mission doesn't pause because the crew is tired, so sailors learn to adapt. Over time, many develop an almost unbelievable ability. They learn to sleep through conditions that would keep most civilians awake all night. Even eating becomes a challenge. The galley continues serving meals, the cooks continue working, the crew still needs food, but carrying a tray across a moving ship requires skill. Drinks slide, utensils move, food shifts unexpectedly. Sailors quickly learn to brace themselves. Veterans often know exactly which tables provide the most stability. New sailors learn through trial and error, sometimes messy trial and error. One of the oldest rules aboard ships suddenly makes perfect sense. One hand for yourself, one hand for the ship. The phrase sounds simple, but during rough weather, it becomes a survival strategy. Storms don't cancel watchstanding. If anything, watchstanders become even more important. On the bridge, sailors continue navigating in Combat Information Center. Operators continue monitoring radar systems. Engineering personnel continue monitoring propulsion systems. Lookouts continue scanning the sea. The destroyer remains operational. Heavy weather introduces additional risks. Visibility drops. Rain obscures contacts. Waves can hide small vessels. Navigation becomes more challenging. Fatigue increases. Yet every watchstander understands something important. The ship depends on them, even during the worst weather, especially during the worst weather, because a single mistake during a storm can have serious consequences.
(172)
Few places aboard the destroyer offer a better view of the storm than the bridge. This is where the ship is controlled, where navigation decisions are made, and where sailors often witness the full power of the ocean. Massive waves appear without warning. Spray explodes across the windows. The horizon constantly rises and falls. Sometimes the bow seems to disappear entirely beneath walls of water. Despite the conditions, the bridge team remains focused. Courses must be maintained, contacts must be monitored, orders must be executed. Communication never stops. The crew cannot afford distractions, not when the ocean is testing both the ship and everyone aboard. For new sailors assigned to bridge watches, these moments are unforgettable because this is often when they truly understand what it means to operate a warship at sea. While the storm rages above, another battle is taking place deep inside the destroyer. Far below the waterline, sailors work inside some of the hottest and loudest spaces aboard the ship, the engineering compartments. Most people never see these areas. There are no panoramic ocean views, no bridge windows, no dramatic views of crashing waves. Instead, there is machinery, pipes, valves, generators, turbines, and a constant wall of noise. The engineering crew is responsible for keeping the destroyer alive. Electricity, propulsion, cooling systems, fuel systems, everything depends on them. During rough weather, their jobs become even more important. Every vibration, every unusual sound, every alarm must be investigated. Because if a critical system fails during a storm, the consequences can become serious very quickly. The ship still needs power, the ship still needs propulsion, the ship still needs to fight if necessary. The weather doesn't change that. One engineer once described storm operations perfectly. Nobody cares how bad the weather is. The equipment still has to work. And that mentality defines life inside the engineering department. When sailors talk about dangerous places during heavy weather, one location always comes to mind: the weather decks. These are the exposed areas outside the ship, the places where sailors come face to face with the storm itself. Out here, the ocean feels alive. Waves crash across the deck. Wind howls through antennas and equipment. Rain stings exposed skin. Every movement requires concentration. Every step requires caution. A sailor can never assume the deck will remain dry or stable or predictable. Safety lines become essential. Protective equipment becomes critical, and experience becomes invaluable. Veteran sailors learn to read the movement of the ship. They know when a wave is coming, they know where to stand, they know when conditions become too dangerous. New sailors are often shocked by the power of the ocean. What looked manageable from inside the ship feels completely different when standing outside. Suddenly, the destroyer doesn't seem enormous anymore. The ocean does.
And do flooding.
It's a lot better than a computer.
Every sailor aboard a destroyer has another responsibility: damage control. This is one of the most important skills taught aboard warships because the ocean doesn't care how advanced a ship is. Flooding can happen, fires can happen, equipment can fail, collisions can occur. Every sailor must be prepared. During rough weather, damage control teams remain especially alert. Heavy impacts from waves place additional stress on equipment. Leaks must be identified. Machinery must be monitored. Problems must be addressed immediately. Throughout the ship, sailors know exactly where their emergency stations are located. They know which equipment to grab. They know where to report, and they practice constantly. Because when emergencies happen at sea, there is no fire department coming, no roadside assistance, no emergency repair crew. The sailors themselves are the solution, and that reality creates a unique bond aboard every warship. Everyone depends on everyone else. Operating a helicopter from a destroyer is difficult under normal conditions. Doing it during rough seas is another challenge entirely. The flight deck never stops moving. The ship rolls, the deck rises and falls, wind conditions constantly change. Yet aviation crews must continue their mission. Landing a helicopter on a destroyer requires incredible skill. Pilots must account for the movement of both aircraft and ship. Deck crews must work with precision. Communication becomes critical. Even small mistakes can create significant risks. When viewers see footage of helicopters landing aboard destroyers during rough weather, they are witnessing something extraordinary. Years of training, experience, teamwork, and trust. Because every person involved understands that there is very little room for error.
There you go. Good job, PYC. It's good. Keep it going. Keep it going.
Storms reveal something important about life aboard a destroyer. Nobody gets through them alone. The crew depends on each other constantly. Experienced sailors help newer crew members. Departments support one another. People check on their shipmates. Someone who is seasick receives help. Someone struggling receives advice. Someone exhausted receives encouragement. Shared hardship creates strong bonds. The storm affects everyone. Nobody is immune, and that creates a sense of unity that is difficult to explain to people who have never experienced it. Many sailors later discover that some of their strongest friendships were formed during difficult moments at sea. Because hardship has a way of bringing people together, especially aboard a warship. Most people will never experience what it's like to live aboard a destroyer as massive waves crash against the hull and the ocean tests both the ship and its crew. But for the sailors who serve aboard these warships, it's simply part of the job. The weather gets worse, the ship keeps moving, the mission continues. And through every storm, it's the crew that makes the difference, because at the end of the day, the true strength of a destroyer isn't its missiles, radar, or technology. It's the sailors who stand watch, keep the ship running, and face the sea together. And that's what life is really like inside an enormous U.S. Navy destroyer battling massive waves. If you enjoyed this look inside life at sea, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments. Could you handle a week aboard a destroyer in weather like this? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.